Hello everyone! In this video we're going to be taking a look at the new Artist Studio Kit, which is the one that I'm most excited about since I'm a graphic designer and I've spent a lot of time in art schools. So we'll be going through every swatch of every single item in the kit and we're going to take a close look at them and see if this kit is useful only for art studios or for other different spaces. And we'll start by reading the official description, which says: Welcome to the Sims 4 Artist Studio Kit, an artist's tools. Give your Sims more ways to express their creativity. There's a new easel, tablet, and woodworking table for Sims to use in their artistic endeavors. Place inspiring still life references, a backdrop, and other props to really help your creativity flow. Artful decor. Add an artistic flourish to your canvas and your studio. Add paint splattered to the ground and clutter items like palettes, cans, tubes, brushes, and stacked sketchbooks to every shelf and corner. So I'm super excited to be jumping into the game and actually seeing all of this. This sounds like exactly the kind of thing that I want in my game. I wanted to look at the wallpaper first, since we have new wallpaper. I think that we don't have anything like this wallpaper in the game. It's called the Down to the Studs wall, and it's a nice wall. It's pretty utilitarian, I think is the word that I'm looking for. And it's not one that you can tile very easily because of how they connect, but that's the wallpaper. And since I have already placed this light, we can take a look at it. It's a nice lamp. It does actually have good lighting, it seems like. Some of the lamps in the game don't really have good lighting. Some of them swatches have different metal colors, some of them are more colorful, some of them have like paint splatters, which is a very nice detail, especially considering what this kit is. And I think this is supposed to be some shelving. It looks like a ladder, which is very cool. It's got lots of supplies. I really like how the cup changes with each of these swatches. There's more messy swatches as well, and I like the detail of how this book looks like it's a softer book. That's very cool. I think I'm going to use that a lot, and I'm just going to grab some items so that I can tell whether or not they have slots. I'm just going to be placing normal stuff from the base game so that we can tell the size of these things. There's several slots in here. There's even bigger slots, which is pretty nice. And this is called the Step Ladder Shelf. The lamp is the industrial spotlight, by the way. So now we're going to look at the Ready Set Go card, which is also a very nice, very utilitarian piece. I really love all of these paint supplies and the paint tubes, the palette. It has some very nice, very colorful swatches, and then those same color spot with some paint splatters, which I really like having the option. We have also this Pollock's storage locker, which really reminds me of art schools that I've been to. It also has the same colorful swatches and the messed up swatches. There's some rolls of paper. It's all really nice. It looks like it had some stickers that were peeled. Then we have this companion cabinet by ECT. This really looks like something that you would find at an art supply store, which is also pretty exciting. And I think that if you really wanted to, you could use it in a space that wasn't meant to be for an artist. Maybe just like something that someone who likes antiques has around the house. But checking for slots, we have a few in these items and bigger slots as well. This is the rolling drying rack. It looks like it's just another one of those sort of side table items that the game has, and it's also got some really cool swatches. They all really match, as most kits do. And here we have the Anything's a Surface pedestal. This one has that same theme of bright swatches and more messed up swatches. There's also some neutral ones, and there's a little caddy. Next up we have the Improvised Studio pedestal. So I'm guessing these are all both meant to be used for having different items on them. I think that's pretty versatile, and you should have all of those same swatches. I do recognize this like improvised pedestal as something that you would find at an art class, and you would add something to paint still lifes on that, so something like these Lilium Mortem plants, and they are so beautiful. This is one of my favorite flowers actually, or at least I used to think that it was. I haven't really thought about that for a while. And it has these very cool bags that you can also have in more plain swatches, and you can actually see that some of them are actually dried up and they have the petals, and some of these vases are messed up. And I do know that I just used both pronunciations of the word. Hope that doesn't bother you. There's also the Forlorn Picture, which is the same kind of item. It also looks like a still life, and I think that these two items could definitely be used in a kitchen or some other space. This looks very classical, and some of these look like they are very old and they have been used in an art school for years and years, so that's something else that I can relate to. And there's this torso in repose, which is also an item that we didn't used to have. I think this is very cool. There's a lot of detail in it, and I kind of wish we had some more of these. This is such a cool piece, and you could also have it sized down if you wanted to. You can also have it sized up if you would prefer. And it's cool to have things for sculptures besides the block of clay and the woodworking table, which, speaking of, we have a second woodworking table now. It's called the Craftmatic Woodworking Table 2.0, which is one of the items that I was most excited about, I think, because it's functional and also it has a very different look to the classic base game woodworking table, which I do really like, but this one looks like a completely different vibe. It can look more put together, like these beautiful swatches that are very pristine and very colorful, and there's some wear and tear on some of them, and there's also different tools, and it also looks like it's used for storage, which is also something that I think is very nice and very cool for storytelling. The other functional object that we have is the Creative Pro tablet, which is the same as the sketchpad that we have in the base game, but this has a different look. It comes with a pencil, so I think this is nice to have. It does look pretty different from the other tablets because both tablets in the base game, the one for B games and one for art, look too similar to each other, so it's pretty cool to have one that doesn't. We also have the notorious slop sink, which is such a cool thing to have. You even have some like rags or juiced up, I don't really know the name of those in English, but you know, the ones that you use for soaking up or applying solvent. And there's some messed up swatches and some really beautiful colorful ones, and I am so excited to be using this. It also has art supplies and a bar of soap, so I think that's perfect. However, this one does not have slots like the other sinks, but I think that makes sense because it's already pretty cluttered. And I think that it would be weird to have those cluttered items as separate, though it would be appreciated. We have another functional item, and this is called the Rolling Easel by Independent Expressions Inc., which it just makes me so happy to see an easel that has some storage for supplies. It also looks very different to the easels in the base game because the only one that looks kind of normal and not like super traditional doesn't have storage. And I think that this is just a very cool item. You also have those swatches with more personality and the plain ones. We also have some wool art. There isn't much wool art in this kit, which I think might be a bit surprising considering, but we have some more sketches, and these are so beautiful. They are called the Sketches and Studies of Studies, which I love. So it has that vibe. There's just indeed sketches and studies. This swatch is amazing. I love this one. I think that many of my sims actually fit like this sort of sad artist vibe. And then this one is more something that you could have at a designer's space or just a different kind of artist. I'm very happy with those. I wish there were a few more swatches, but they are still very cool. Maybe we could have some of them separate, that would also have been nice. But we also have the accidental paint splatters, which I think is such a realistic item, and there's very different splatters. I really love how different these ones are to the smaller splatters. So you could have several of these just all around a room and they wouldn't look repetitive. I think that's very cool. Next up we have the studio drape backdrop, which I think could also be used for a photography studio if you wanted to. It's not very neat, but I like that about it. And maybe it could look like it wasn't being in use at the time. And this one doesn't have any messed up swatches, which makes sense. And I really love the detail of the clamps. We also have the Storage Savvy Smock Rack, which I'm guessing this is just a shelf. It should have some slots, which is very nice to have. No bigger slots. I really like the details on this item. I like that there's some paint tubes, because I always want to add paint tubes and we didn't really have that. We only have that in like a few items from Nifty Knitting, I think, and that's it. We have like some paint cans in Zip Living, but they are huge. And I love that the apron also changes with the swatch. Very cool item. I think that it looks a bit strange with how it floats, but I think that's kind of realistic for a space. We also have the collection of sketchbooks, which is another very cool item that I'm going to use a lot. This is definitely a relatable item for me. I am not a very neat person, so yeah. I love that there's also a paintbrush and like post-it notes and a little paint can and like a binder. Very cool item. There's also the discounted paint cans. They are a floor decoration. I think that you could have these in a house that was being moved into, and that could be an alternative use for that item. But these painter's palettes, this is a pretty clear item. It's very clearly meant to be used in an art studio, and I really love watercolors, so now my Sims can paint with watercolors too. And then I think lastly there's the odds and ends brush storage. This one fits perfectly in this spot, and yeah, there's a bunch of paintbrushes, some neater swatches and some messier ones. Overall, I'm very happy with this kit. I do think that there's a bit too many like surface items, like they aren't super usable. There's no bookshelves maybe, or a desk would have been nice, maybe even like a bar stool or a chair. I think it would have been a cool thing and I would have appreciated it, but I love all the clutter and I think that the items that it does include are all very realistic and very relatable for artists, and I think that you can probably do something with a lot of personality with this. So I'm going to try and make an art studio just really quickly with just this kit and a few items from the base game, because there isn't any doors or windows or anything, so it will be necessary. But yeah, I am very happy to see that we now have an easel that looks more like something that a normal person would have in their home. And yeah, I'm really happy to have these. Many of these items make me sort of nostalgic, and I'm also curious to see if we use all of these items in the same room, if it will be too cluttered or too saturated, I suppose. So we will see that, and overall I'm really excited about this, but I want to know if you are also excited about this kit, if this is for you or if it's not something that you're interested in at all, and if you're more interested in the Storybook Nursery kit, which also came out today. I already uploaded the build and buy overview to that one with my thoughts, and I was overall very happy with that one, but I will have that link down in the description in case you want to watch the whole thing. So I'm also very excited to build with both kits in different houses and apartments, so I hope that you stay tuned for that and that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Leave a like if this was useful, and I hope to see you soon.